much today will take care of our startups and Axel, and yeah, he will do the introduction later on. I like to introduce my first speaker, which is Axel Schulze. He's a serial entrepreneur, CEO of Society 3 and the Accelerator, serial entrepreneur in Europe. He had 3 companies in Europe, IPO'd once with 5 billion in revenue, then came here to the US, started Blue Roads, which is a channel solution, and was sold in 2008. And now his love is our startups, and he will share today with us how crowdfunding would be also a way for funding. Axel, do you take over? Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. So I hope my voice will hold. I was speaking, I don't know, since yesterday morning, almost straight. So, but I'll try my best. Yeah, today the topic, before we go to the presentations, we do this every event, have one topic that is startup related, is crowdfunding. And I want to talk to crowdfunding as an interesting alternative to funding in the first place. Those who followed us a little bit, I just wonder if I have my thingy here, yeah, who followed us a little bit, we're very much into helping startups get traction, and traction is really needed to get funding, and we did that because I just learned the other day that it's not a good idea to talk about luck, but I do anyway. I think I was just lucky to get traction pretty much out of the gate with every company I started in my past. So I thought, okay, when we do an accelerator and help other startups, we do that by focusing on traction. So traction first, and then funding. And the reason is, and most of you who have been looking for funding probably heard it over and over already. You know, what's your traction? So let me ask you, who's actually a startup here, running a startup, looking for funding and trying to get it off the ground? Oh, cool. Super. Oh, wow. Yeah, very cool. So you're all heroes. You know, absolutely, no, you are. Because imagine we have, what do you have, 7 billion people on the planet. And there's only a few thousand who actually have the guts, the balls, and an idea to start a new business and actually employing many of these 7 billions down the road in the next 5 to 10 years. So you're truly heroes. I mean, you don't feel that because you're so focused on your startup, and I totally agree. You know, that should be your focus, but that's cool. So you heard traction is important, and then funding. And so what happened about 2 or 3 months ago, we saw a couple of startups trying to do a crowdfunding campaign through Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any of these kind of sort of systems or platforms, and unfortunately, most failed. They didn't fail because the product was not good or any of those problems. They failed because they did not focus enough on the crowdfunding activities. Crowdfunding means you will actually attract a part of the market. I try to attract this little remote thingy. No attraction here. You try to attract the market, and you do one of the same mistakes that companies, startups, all the way up to global enterprises do. You think you throw something new out in the market, and they're just waiting for you. But nobody does this, unfortunately. You know, if you think about, you saw all these stats of hundreds of thousands of new videos get uploaded every minute. So there's so much out there, which is actually great, but it's very difficult to cut through the noise. So let me talk about what can you do to actually run a crowdfunding campaign in order to augment your capital situation. And in general, there are 2 major aspects. One is perks, meaning you give out something, or equity, where you get basically shares to some investors, and there are crowdfunding platforms here in the US who do that. Obviously, accredited investors only. I know it worked. You got it to work somehow. So what I want to do today, because the equity-based crowdfunding is, so to speak, pretty simple. You give out shares for equity. I mean, it's basically an electronic way of the fundraising process. But the crowdfunding for perks is extremely interesting and should be extremely interesting for all of you. Because what you do is you sell at what price ever with a couple nice things, add-ons, like a t-shirt or so. You sell your product into a market that is possibly attracted by what you're doing. Now, if you are afraid to do that because you don't know whether they even are interested in what you have, well, that should be obviously your very first red flag saying, oh God, so what I'm doing is possibly total garbage, I'm just, playing around. So, no, build something the market wants. And if you do, then you will see in traction, even before you think traction of an investment from an investor. So here are a couple campaigns. Earbud Edge, that was 12 million, the little wrist watch, 1.5 million. So there are a couple very interesting campaigns which did basically play a lot of money into the cash of those startups. Now, what I don't show here, because there is not enough room, is these hundreds, actually thousands of campaigns who did not work out. They had $500, $300, $12, $722, and are way off. So, what you really need to consider is what you want to do during that crowdfunding campaign in order to attract the market. Preparation time, at least 2 months. Okay? Oh, you got this done. Cool. Sorry. So there are basically 5 reasons for crowdfunding, if you consider that. Incremental market exposure. There is rarely a case where you can launch a product with an audience as big as these crowdfunding platforms have. And if you do this right, you will be seen by literally hundreds of thousands of people. So that's a huge plus. It has nothing to do with money, but it's really a huge exposure. Number 2, new ambitious users and fans. People who buy something at a crowdfunding campaign or platform are typical very early adapters, people who get engaged by something very new, they get excited about it. And these people have a huge advantage for you. They are typically, they say, this is cool, I want it right away, and then they get it, and they will tell you also right away whether they actually like it or not. So you get almost instantaneous feedback, and the feedback will be in 99%, more negative potentially than positive, because these guys are very critical. They simply want to help you. So that's another huge plus. Gives you additional market validation. So if the people buy, that means the market is actually ready for what you have. And that is cool. Market validation is one of the coolest things you will experience when your product goes into that market. Then we have a large number of paying users. All of a sudden, if you can sell, your products and sell basically 200, 300, 400 perks to new customers, you have paying customers. They get the product, they get a little extras, but you have paying customers. Paying customers means there is somebody who's actually willing to pay money to get your product, and actually even more money potentially to get it early. And last but not least, attention from professional investors. Now, if what I said earlier, the traction question. Imagine you are an investor. You'll be done with your startups, you did 3 or 4 very successfully, you made enough money, and now you invest back into startups. You look into these companies with the same eyes like you have today. No difference. When I look into companies, I look with the same brain like I ran my own startups in the past. So, but what you also will want to do is you will want to see if these companies you will invest actually did some traction, actually did something attractive to the market. And today, almost all the products are pretty complex or pretty unique, they're pretty odd, they're doing something nobody else has done before, which is all positive. Just go ahead. But for the investor, it's very tough to decide whether this is going to fly or not. So therefore, they look into market validation, into traction. And that's what the cool thing is about these crowdfunding campaigns. I mean, if somebody comes and says, okay, and I had one of these companies at our last event, he said, okay, they had a little microchip, and they actually sold the microchip through the company they sold that chip to in a crowdfunding campaign. We sold for over $1 million little airplanes. I mean, me as an investor, I don't know anything about what they did, but that was really compelling for me. They did $1 million worth of product sales through a campaign like that. For a new company, nobody trusted them, nobody knew them, nobody had an idea where this really goes. Will they ever produce the product they're promising to do? That was very compelling. So that's something you need to consider too. Because with a crowdfunding campaign, you would get the market validation, and that's why I said, the last but not least point is attention from investors. They would actually come almost automatically when you're successful. Okay? So, there are also some risks. And that chart is probably not seen by a lot of people, and a lot of people have not articulated the risk of a crowdfunding campaign. And I don't want to make it negative, but I want you to be absolutely sure you know that too. Because this is the reason why crowdfunding campaigns fail, because they don't know. And if they fail, that's not nice. So first of all, you would potentially disappoint current users. So if you have a couple hundred users and your crowdfunding campaign fails, this is also a bad feeling for them. So you need to make sure that this doesn't go south, so to speak. You have a set of red flags for future investors. Because they think, oh God, he tried a crowdfunding campaign, but nobody was really biting. Why should I? I mean, if the market says no, why should I actually invest? You may lose employees. You may turn off new users. So there are a couple things you need to also consider when the crowdfunding campaign would fail, what that means to you and your company. Now, listen carefully. If you don't do a crowdfunding campaign because of those risks, I recommend to you shut down your business. Absolutely. I mean, I'm as serious as I can get. Because if you don't take the risk to go to the market, then don't go to the market at all. Please. Because you do yourself a favor, your team, your early adapters, your future investors, everybody. So you have to take that leap of faith, and I don't say you have to do a crowdfunding campaign, but I can only recommend look into this extremely seriously, extremely carefully, because it can give you not only initial revenue stream and therefore cash in the bank without giving out equity. It can, and in most places it does, attract the investors you're looking for. Okay? So, how to do that? Planning is everything. So there's some key figures from the Indiegogo CEO, and I hope we will have them once here. So having a video on your crowdfunding campaign, on average, these are their data points, increases the volume by 114%. The numbers are out of, I think, 16,000 crowdfunding campaigns we ran, so basically did some stats. The magic number of perks between 3 and 8. The campaign typically hits their success target at day 36. Update every 5 days or less raises 4 times the amount. Let me ask you real quick, who did a crowdfunding campaign with you guys on any of the platforms? Nobody yet? Okay, so that's good. So you learn something. And you learn it from listening rather than from own experience. Yeah. The other interesting thing is most backers come from email, Facebook, and Twitter. So who of you is not on Twitter, doesn't really do anything on Twitter? Oh, okay. See, this is one of the differences. I asked the same question when we were over in Europe, and we had almost 50% raise their hands. So that's the US advantage. Average contribution size around $70. So if you want to raise $70,000, and you know that this is the average, you also know that you need 1,000 people who do that. And 1,000 people with your friends and friends' friends, your existing users, is not that kind of a problematic objective. Now the other stat, which is not on here, is that typically your own ecosystem contributes between 25 and 30% to the whole. Which means if your own ecosystem is able to contribute 25,000, then you can actually think that somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000 should come in if you run the crowdfunding campaign properly. Teams of 4 raise 70% more than single founders. Who of you are single founders? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I don't want to go too much into details, but I would like to urge you, as soon as humanly possible, find a co-founder. You will have the hardest time to actually get investors' attention as single founders. There are just almost no cases these days where single founders really made it all the way to the top, but founder teams did. And so investors are extremely critical about single founder companies in general. Okay? So, most backers come from Facebook, Twitter, and email. We said that. I think we can skip that. So, we're actually running our own crowdfunding campaign starting October 1st. And so, for us, it's a little bit of risk because we are, as you know, we run the accelerator. We have our own technology labs. And one of the products is actually pretty cool. It has grown pretty nicely. And so we said, okay, we want to get some funding and also want to kind of build up sort of an example for a software company. Because one of the things you will also notice with crowdfunding campaigns that software companies are less likely to succeed than hardware companies. We saw a great example from the Swiss email security company. They raised $550,000. Software company, not even a Silicon Valley company, so they did everything right that you ever can do right on a crowdfunding campaign. But, so it's possible, but it's not that easy. And so we were planning our own campaign for a little over 2 months now. We actually take the whole planning mechanism into our next accelerator program so that everybody in the accelerator program learns, kind of, on the living object to run a crowdfunding campaign. Okay? So one of the things, so what we did, and this is another new and unique, we actually take an existing product crowdfunding, which nobody has done before. At least we don't know anybody. We asked a lot around if somebody actually crowdfunded an existing product, in our case, take it to the next level. So we have this ugly UI over there, a little bit of nicer UI down there, and so we try to do that. Okay? And so this is an example. So we have on Google Drive, we have basically a spreadsheet, and there are some, I think, 180 line items of activities of things to prepare. So you can see it's a lot of work. And everybody will tell you, and I do that too, it completely consumes you. And I think that's fair, because what you're doing is massive. You're trying to introduce a new company with a new product into an existing, very crowded market, and you do this in 4 to 8 weeks preparation, and then you have 4 to 6 weeks execution of the entire campaign, and try to win $100,000 or $500,000 on top. So there are not a lot of people who do that, but when you do it right, it's absolutely possible, and that's the beauty about it. Okay? So, you get funding for your own product, and here's what I said earlier. If there is no crowd that will fund it, it's no business worth doing. I mean, it sounds very brutal, but if you digest that one sentence as hard and as fast as you can into the inner works of your brain, if there is nobody who will fund your product, I mean, a buyer, not investors, it's not a company worth doing. Because even if investors come in and throw $1 million into advertising, which nobody does anymore, but even then it will probably not work. Okay? So, making $250,000 in 45 days. That's sort of a grand objective for a crowdfunding campaign, and that's something I would just urge you to consider, because, you know, it's a big number. Oh, this is even euros. Oh, how fun. Now, here are a couple things that you need to know. It will consume you and your team entirely. So you can't do this on the side. We did, well actually not we did, but I was involved in a crowdfunding campaign 2 years ago, which we all did on the side. It was a complete failure. It just did not work at all. In retrospect, when we looked into our checklist, what we have to do and what we cannot avoid to do, we realized we did everything wrong, what we could do wrong. And the outcome of, I think it was like $50,000 goal, the outcome was, I think, 325 or something absurd. So it was a complete failure. It was really, you know, a pity, but it was also a good learning effect. So, without a plan, you won't make it. I mean, that's very clear. And your network, again, I mean, the Facebooks and the Twitters and all these guys, your friends, they are key. And you will want to reach out to everybody individually, personally, on the phone, in the email, on messaging, wherever, and ask them to help you. That is your first important pool, and if you make that happen, everything else will come. If you hit 25% of your goal, let's say you're trying to get 100,000, for instance, and you get $25,000 in the first week, you get actually trending on all these, whether it's Kickstarter or Indiegogo and so on. You get trending, and if you get trending, then people look at you, and if they look at you because you're trending, then they are likely to buy it too, and that's where basically the machine starts. So one of the key things is you work as hard as you can to get, you know, your first 25 to 30% in the first week. You know, zero equity. And that's the coolest thing. You get everything you need to have to get started with investors later on. Okay? I think that's it. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Axel. So yeah, we start October 1st. I don't know what to do, I can tell you. So now what we will have are 5 startups who will present their product. And here we have a jury who will look into these startups, how they are doing, and if there is money to invest. With me in the jury, George, may I just ask you to join me?
Sure.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is George Parrish. I'm an advisor, mentor, investor, sit on the board of 4 or 5 startups here in town currently. And one of the things that I want to tell everybody tonight, it's very, very important from a pitch standpoint, since I'm going to judge at a number of these type of events all over town, is that the story is everything, okay? I mean, I know that you're very, very bright, and I know that you've designed some wonderful technology for us to see, but I've already spent 25 years in the technology vertical, so believe me, I'm looking forward to hearing about what it is that you have to do, and I'm here to help you succeed, and I want to see you succeed. And I want to see you happy as a result of your success. So tonight, if anybody wants to talk to me, let me tell you something about networking. Tonight is not the night to come up and try to pitch me with a 5-minute pitch while I'm standing here and somebody is standing behind you. Hand me your business card, and ethically over the next 2 weeks, we will meet face to face. I'll hear your story, I'll hear what your hopes, dreams, and aspirations are, and I'll see what I can do to help you get moving forward. Okay? All right? So good luck to everyone tonight. Believe me, I mean, the reason I'm here is because when I hear a business solution to a real business problem, it makes me sit up and go, wow, that's fantastic. So best of luck to everybody tonight. Thank you for the few moments. Thank you for coming. And if you want to talk to me after this thing, make it short and brief, and then we'll get together in the next 2 weeks, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Society 3, and he worked with me in one of our startups. We took that one from 0 to 40 million together. So that was a pretty successful launch. We've done about 5 early stage companies in the last 10 years. Personally raised about $250 million in private equity for those companies from seed stage through exit. We've had exits recently with Cray. We sold a company to IBM. Got one in negotiation right now on the board of with Intel. I think there's an Intel Capital conflict somewhere out there. So anyway, lots of early stage experience. I'm typically an operating guy. I'm a sales, marketing, business development guy. And unfortunately, I usually get brought in after you guys get your funding, you spend it all, your product is almost done, but not quite. You don't yet have any customers, but the investors now have a stake in you. And they really like to see you succeed. And so then they bring in someone like me or George, and they say, can you help these guys get from where they are over the hump? And I've gotten weary of that, and I prefer to get involved with you a little earlier in the life cycle, so we don't go through those stages. So that's why I'm here. So thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you. So now we will have the first team from Job Ant with me, Praveen. Thanks for joining us today, Praveen. You have 3 minutes, and after the 3 minutes, you are done with the presentation. We will have questions from the jury, also questions from the attendees. After that, the jury will vote. And at the end, after all our startups have voted, we are asking the crowd. We will have also an online voting for all startups. So pay attention what Praveen is talking now about job ends. Thanks.
If you just try, let me just put on the... Is it working? Hold on.
Hello.
Here we go. Yeah. 3 minutes. Oops.
Hello. Job ads, customer-centric, integrated recruiting platform for employers and career platform for job seekers. My name is Sandeep Purwar. I'm the founder and CEO of Job Ads, the smarter, faster way to find jobs. I have a data mining and recruiting experience about 10 years now. So here are some of the platforms that you are aware of. So why do we need one more recruiting platform? Because it's broken. It's broken because recruiting industry is fragmented. The recruiting process is time consuming and tedious, and all those platforms lack integrated tools. With my years of experience in recruiting, as a trainer, talking to hundreds of employers and job seekers, and going through the pain which actually made me create this platform, Job Ads. So with Job Ads, finally recruiters can have integrated tools with sophisticated filtering, applicant tracking system, video interviews for seamless recruiting, which will help recruiters find the right candidate in the shortest period of time. We also help employers focus on top candidates instead of going through hundreds of resumes. We just ask them to focus on the top candidates, which will, to the other companies who you have to go to other resumes. With job seekers, we not only tell them which jobs are suitable for them, but we also connect them with the trainers so that their skills are, they can enhance their skills and get their dream job in shorter, faster way. Job seekers can create their video profiles and skill sets to have stand out in the crowd. So job ads help employers break through the noise. The job ads processes will help both employers, job seekers track and follow up, and also our app on Facebook will help have more visibility. The heart of job ads is to connect employers, job seekers, and trainers through integrated tools. So the supply chain of recruitment is smart, efficient, and fast. Our model is very simple, $50 per job, and all tools are free, and 20% of training fees. We are looking for team members with backgrounds in data sciences. We are looking for advisors and investors. Thank you. This is our team. Thank you.
Thanks, Praveen. Questions from you guys?
My name is Sandeep. It's okay.
Were they here? I'm sorry.
So first of all, it's more a suggestion than a question. I looked at the clock. It took you about half of your speaker time to explain the problem. You can probably do this in a sentence of 3 seconds. You talk to functions that you have, like integration and so on. You never actually mention what's really unique about your application. So from a presentation point of view, that's probably something you need to be really aware of. And now my question is, what is it actually what you do unique compared to anybody else?
I just want to show this slide I had in case if somebody asks this question. If you look at all these sides, everybody has a small part of the puzzle, but nobody actually solving everything in one place, and that's where we are different, and that's the reason the word integrated tools is really important, where right from posting a job till hiring, and also helping employers and job seekers to make it faster.
What I want to know is what are we looking at in terms of year one revenue projections and everything, and talk a little bit more about your go-to-market plan.
We are using different strategies right now to get the user growth. We have about 450 employers, 500 jobs already registered, and about 800 job seekers. But our go-to-market is to get the verticals we are working on is healthcare, pharma, and IT, because that's where my background is and I already have clients. And I think we're focusing more on success rate, not about how many registrations, but per job, are we really closing and finding the right candidate?
So, a number. Give me a number. What are we looking at year one?
Right now we are not charging, but I think I'm looking around $25,000 to $50,000 of revenues end of the year.
What's the business model? I mean, how do you generate that revenue?
It's very simple. Per job, we're gonna charge $50, but for that job, all the tools will be free, right from interviews, testing, and applicant tracking system for that particular job. And we are charging 20% of training fees for the from the trainers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Question from the audience?
Can you explain what you mean by training?
I've been training, it's really important, somebody who just graduated from school or who been in the industry for 15 years and they don't know what to do, how to find the next job. They are not aware of what the resume should look like when they come out. So we are connecting the job seekers with the trainers, more of resume preparation, so that the resume can enhance. But not only resume preparation, but also if you need project management, or technical skill sets, and we're connecting the right people.
one last question.
Yeah, I just wonder, it sounds like traditionally recruiters are charging a percentage of the salary for the job, and if we look at the Bay Area, if people are making $100,000 in a salary, why don't you charge a percentage of the salary? It sounds like you make a lot more money than $50 per job.
I have a company called Bodhi Global Solutions. That's the model we use. But we feel that it's better to have a per job instead of actually getting a cut out of the placement after a month.
Okay, so now I'm asking the jury. Yes, so the highest number is what we all want to see. We have numbers between 1 and 4. And so may I see your votes? So we have a 3, 3, and 2. So we have an 8. Thank you so much. Big hands.
So we have Mercury Pitch now with Robert.
Okay, so thanks. 3 minutes also for you.
Hello, my name is Robert Kratz. I'm a PhD candidate at UC Berkeley. Just want to thank you all for being here as I introduce our company, Mercury Touch. So, let me open up with a question. How many contacts do you have in your address book? If you're like me, you probably have a couple hundred, right? And each of those people has their own way that they prefer to be reached. Okay, now to make things a little bit more complicated, those preferences can change, right? People get new phone numbers, they switch to new social media platforms, that kind of thing. So, right now, you're the one that has to keep track of it. It's a lot to do, it's a lot to ask. So, let me bring up another question. How many times have you run into the situation where somebody gets a new phone, and then they ask all of their friends to update their address books, right? Okay, and yet another thing. How many times have you missed an important memo because somebody sent it to the wrong address, an email address perhaps that you never check? Happens to me all the time. Okay, so what do all of these problems have in common? Well, we think that they basically all stem from app fragmentation and the decentralized storage of contact information. So, enter Mercury Touch. How are we going to solve this? Well, we're basically going to fundamentally change the way that address books work. Now let me walk you through some of the features of our service. So, the first one, preferred connections. Mercury is a centralized communication portal where you register your own communication preferences. Basically, you tell the world how you like to be reached, right? Now, this powers our app, which is actually an app launcher that handles all of these preferences under the hood transparently to you. So, if you wanted to reach one of your friends, right, in this case, I guess you can't see this, but let's suppose you wanted to call Captain Stark, right? All you have to do is tap her entry, and it would automatically launch the most appropriate app to reach that person. Okay, so key feature number 2. Right now, your contact information is scattered to the 4 windows, right? You have 20 different online accounts that all have your address and phone number. It's very, very difficult to keep everything up to date. So, Mercury, because everything is in one centralized place, makes it very easy to do this. You update it in one spot in Mercury, and it automatically pushes to all of your friends and online profiles. That said, privacy is a key concern, right? And again, because we've got this centralized portal, you have very precise control over who has access to what. Okay, so that's basically Mercury in a nutshell. So where are we now? In September, we actually showcased our tech demo at TechCrunch this month. We've filed a provisional patent on our technology. We've assembled our core team, but we're looking to scale up because we've got a private beta scheduled for November of this year and a final product launch in March at South by Southwest. Okay, so that's what I've got for you. Thank you for your time. By the way, you can reach us at mercurytouch.net and sign up to be a beta tester.
how close are you to be how close are you to launching beta? Because beta is going to be very, very important in this CRM vertical that you're playing in. And one of the things that I want to look at in terms of beta testing, are you looking at any companies that might be able to test this company white?
So currently our beta test is going to be targeted at the Greek community at the UC campus, right? As far as companies that may want to partner with us initially, we were thinking actually to integrate with phone manufacturers from China. So my co-founder Vern has a business link, a connection that he's made. So yeah.
So, that's great. So how are you going to make money with this? It's very, very important to generate revenue with this type of, especially with the competition that you have in this business vertical.
Right, so we actually have several revenue streams that we're exploring. The first of which is actually VoIP revenue share. So because Mercury has control over exactly what apps are called to complete communications, right, we could, instead of using the built-in voice dialer on a phone, we could use our own VoIP dialer and get some revenue sharing from that. A second stream is, well, our online database has extremely valuable marketing data as far as people's preferences for communication. We've got real-time insight on trends in social media, right? So we believe that that would be a very valuable source of marketing data.
Yeah, so I think it's a problem that you're solving. The one question I have is having yet another centralized database the real answer. I mean, people have probably all their professional data on LinkedIn, so why not use LinkedIn as that already existing hub with everything on it? Website, email address, phone number, bio, and the users updating their LinkedIn profile as soon as something changes. So the mechanism is already there. Why not just use that?
So I think the answer to that is that none of those are really linked into an app launcher. They might be difficult to coordinate, might be difficult to take that data and actually feed it into our system to launch the correct app. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't use LinkedIn, for example.
I mean, on the business side, it's rare. You don't need to use the data, just the links to it.
Well, okay, maybe I misunderstood the question. So what I interpreted was, you know, if you wanted to get somebody's phone number to complete the call, right, you'd have to pull it down from their LinkedIn profile. But what if they don't have a LinkedIn account?
What if you don't have a Mercury account?
Well, that's true.
The likelihood that there's a LinkedIn account is probably a million times higher than the Mercury account.
So let me answer with actually a different thing. So LinkedIn doesn't have preference data, which I think is one of the main selling points for our platform. So LinkedIn, you can say you've got your phone number and your email, but it doesn't say when you want to be communicated with, at which line, at which time, which we can do it.
Okay, thanks so much, Robert. Big hands also for Robert.
Tapestry will be our next.
Do they get the vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. If you guys just hold, in the meantime, I set up the machine.
Are you voting? Okay. So we have a 5 for Mercury. Thank you so much. And now the next 3 minutes are for you, Tapestry.
So 3 minutes for you.
Thank you. I'm Ryan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tapestry. Tapestry is an easy-to-use mapping tool for civil engineers, contractors, and scientists that allows them to combine, map, and analyze their data from a number of different sources, whether it's laboratory data in an Excel file or field notes from a project site out in the field. Up until 6 months ago, I was running the environmental work out at the Presidio Parkway project here in San Francisco, the highways and tunnel construction there. And what my team was doing was tracking the locations of soil on that site. Some of it's contaminated with lead from leaded gasoline, some of it is clean. And what we had to communicate was the locations and information about stockpiles of dirt. The contaminated soil had to be shipped off-site to landfills. The clean dirt could stay on site and be used for the tunnels and roads they're constructing out there. But the problem was, my frustration with it was revolving around maps. I spent 10 years in the civil engineering and construction industry, and maps take way too long to create. There's only a few people in my company that can create them, and there's not a really easy way to share data and maps with my team in the field. So I left civil engineering, as I said, 6 months ago, and joined up with my wife, who is a software developer. She left Flickr Yahoo, where she had been after they acquired a computer vision startup she was part of. Her previous experience was at Cal and part of the Artificial Intelligence PhD program, and she had done mapping software for defense contractors. So we've launched Mapistry. We have had over 300 people sign up since the beginning of the summer. Through a partnership with another app, we're going to be on over 200 construction sites next month. The mapping software market as a whole is about $4 billion a year. Our primary competitor does $1.4 billion in revenue, but they're focused heavily on a desktop software, and you need specialists to operate it, and you have to customize in order to integrate your map with all the different data sources out there. What we offer is a single mapping platform. Anybody in a company, not just specialists, can go to it, click on it, see their info, get all the info about their project site. We've been self-funded to date. Right now we're raising our seed round, and we're looking for introductions to investors and potential customers. Thank you.
Great to hear there's a female entrepreneur also in the company.
A technical one too.
A technical. Okay, question, Axel, Bob.
First product question. So is this something that you've layered on Google Maps, or what are you using underneath your annotation utility?
So there's Google Maps, and there's a privately held company that does a lot of mapping software, our primary competitor. We're building our own database, and we're right now licensing aerial imagery from Bing as the base map to layer on top of, but eventually users will be able to put their own imagery in there. We're going to be tying in with like drone imagery. A lot of contractors are starting to use drones to get more up-to-date site maps.
Okay, so is the business model following Waze? Is the business model then to follow kind of a Waze business model, layer value on top of someone else's existing map, and then how do you generate revenue from that?
Yeah, so the business model is we're providing the tool or the platform. User supplied data or open data is what they're going to be putting into it. They're currently using other tools that they're paying for to pull their own data, other people's data together and analyze it. So we'd be doing a SaaS model, $30 per user per month.
So there is a lot of data out there. I mean, extreme interesting data. I just by accident got into this market once. So are you working with those data providers who know that in 1,000 feet depth there is that kind of water, while below that there is no water, and all that kind of information?
So a lot of those are, selling or licensing that type of data to oil and gas industry. So we would be either providing the tool to look at that data for either the end user from an engineer or geologist, or to the company themselves as they're gathering that data. So they would be using our software to look at that information.
So the question is, are you actually becoming a facilitator to organize data and resell it to a certain degree?
No, we would not. It'd largely be user supply data or purchase data. We are providing the tool to look at that data, but we're not planning on selling data specifically.
You talked about raising a round of funding and everything. What are you going to be using the funding for?
So funding would be for continuing to build out the product. We've got a basic version out there, but continuing to build it out. And then also on the sales side is, I'm the only one doing sales right now, is to build out that piece of it and gain revenue.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a question from the audience? Not yet? Great, thank you. Big hands for you. So, guys, think about it and let us know. So, we have big hands for 9. Congratulations.
Mobbing cube.
Ignacio, great to see you again. We haven't seen you before. Okay.
3 minutes for you.
Hi, my name is Ignacio Roda. I'm the co-founder of Mobbing Cube. So, do I have the... So, in order to explain what Mobbing Cube is, I'd like to tell the story of this guy. This guy is called Jason. He could be one of your friends. So he's just a regular guy, you know. He has a smartphone. He likes to play with apps, and he really knows that he needs an app. I mean, he needs to create his own app for his business, for example, because nowadays you have to have an app if you want to reach people from app stores. So the thing is that he's not a programmer. He doesn't have any friend who can program for him, and he also doesn't have the money to hire a programmer, because, you know, if you want to outsource the development to a development company, maybe you spend like $10,000 for creating an app. Okay, so he's wondering if there's any other way to create an app, and of course there is. For example, we have Mobbing Cube. So Mobbing Cube is the solution for Jason. So Mobbing Cube is a do-it-yourself builder platform. So we offer a visual interface so that anyone without any technical skills can build a mobile app for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. Okay, so no coding required. And also our business model is quite interesting because people can create apps for free. And in case they do it for free, we also make money. Okay, because when they do it for free, we put advertisement in their apps they produce, and we share revenue with the users that create the apps. Okay, so a user creates an app for free and makes 70% of the revenue. Okay, and some users want to go premium. Okay, for example, a restaurant that wants to have an app, they don't want advertisement in the app, so they can go premium and remove advertisement. Or, for example, they can go premium for using some additional services like sending push notifications and things like that. Okay. So our premium model is a monthly subscription model, so it's quite recurrent. So people start paying 1 month and they can use the whole platform for just $9.99 per month. Okay, so now we are working on becoming our own ad network, because in the past we were using external ad networks like Google, so now we are becoming our own ad network, and we are also looking for distributors. So how we market our product. So well, this is Switch, it's wrong. So we have 2 strategies. We go B2C and B2B. So we have more than 350K registered users. And now we are making 6 million ad impressions per month. And we are growing really fast because in July we have only 4 million. And in September we have 6 million. So we are growing really fast. And in the B2B area, we are always looking for web hosting companies and, well, companies providing software as a service. Okay, and from now we are looking also for advertisers for our ad network. Okay, so we got invested last year from a Spanish VC, and I guess in 2015 we will start looking for a bigger round so that we can add more resources to our ad network, so that we can have more salesmen to find advertisers and distributors. So yeah, basically this is Mobbing Cube.
questions I wanted to ask you. It's very impressive the number of users you already have signed up at this point. Is the company based here in the States? Is your IP registered here also, or is it registered only in Spain?
Okay, so we are originally from Spain, and all our development team is in Spain. But last year, in 2013, in December, we started our US subsidiary. So I came in May to stay here, so I'm here to try to grow our user base here.
And what are you going to use this round of funding for? Where is the vast majority of this money going to go to internally for your company?
Okay, so one thing is that we have to grow our development team a little bit only, but the main amount of money will be for our sales team, because now we have more people in the development area than in a sales team, so we want to focus on more marketing and sales, and also for looking for advertisers. We know it's a brand new project, this a network, so we need resources in that area.
How many apps have the people deployed using your technology, and what's the rate of growth, the number of apps being added?
Okay, so now I think we have like 20,000 apps, and like 6 months ago we were growing like 150 apps per month, more or less. And I mean that in app stores, okay? It's because a lot of people don't publish on app stores, okay? But now in Google Play, for example, we are making like 200 per week.
Okay, so there is an enormous amount of app producers who would take your tool basically to create the app. And most of them are free, or all of them are free? All of them free?
No, I think 70% of our revenue come from free users from the app part.
Oh, wow,
30%
okay.
come from paying services.
Amazing. So can you disclose what the revenue is right now?
Well, now we're making like 25,000 a month.
Cool, very cool. Thank you.
So everyone can download now and create his own app, right?
Yeah, of course, everyone can register, and if you want some discount, you can talk to me.
Okay, thank you so much. Ignacio. I'm checking for the next, and you guys are thinking about the vote. Okay, so we have a 3, a 4, a 4, big hands. Nice. Wow, thanks.
It's all about traction.
It's all about traction.
Is my take one pass down?
Here.
So Tony will be our next presenter. Tony, thank you so much for coming from Oregon down to San Francisco. Hope to see you always in San Francisco, moving to San Francisco.
We'll see.
3 minutes later. That's yours? Can you just test if it's working for you? Okay? Okay, here we go, Tony.
Okay, thanks for your time and coming down here. My name is Tony. I'm the co-founder and COO of Photogrid.com. And it is a web platform and also a widget that can also be used on the web. But essentially, it does exactly what the name is. It allows users to vote over a specific debate. And so the main idea is that on comment streams at the moment, there's just really there's no way to really engage with the content at the end of a blog post or a news article. And the comment streams are just really, sometimes they're ridiculous, they're hard to understand, it takes a lot of time to parse through it and understand what the community thinks. There's really no way to digest that information. So the idea is that the author of the article would post a question to the audience, and they would be able to give an up and down vote. There's also internet links that would be associated with that debate, so people could actually learn about the content a little bit further before they make a decision. There's also a comments section where people can voice their opinion and rank the comments. So it becomes a deliberative platform. And while the vote totals are increasing, it becomes increasingly noteworthy and interesting. So we would actually push that information back, the results back to the publisher, and that becomes more news that they can share with their readers and engage after they understand what the community thinks. Okay. And so the widget is also centered around a single debate, and that can be placed on any other blog. So a user reading the original blog can actually take the content creator's question and put it on their own blog, and then it would aggregate that information with the original poster. So it really becomes an aggregated pool of information where people can kind of understand what the internet thinks, essentially. So the users have a really passive engagement. They can vote. They can also contribute more if they'd like to. The publishers are already creating the content. They already understand the context of the content. And so it would just be a little bit further step for them. And the final result is public opinions about really relevant national debates. And so we're already working with a publisher in the Portland, Oregon area. The Willamette Week has been kind enough to take on our project and put our debate at the bottom of their news articles and their their blog posts as well. So we're using their feedback, and we should have that implemented here in the next few months. And the parent company of the Willamette Week also owns a couple other weekly papers, so if that goes well, we'll roll out to other weekly papers across the country and see if we can actually turn their comment sections into something more interesting and more beneficial for them. And so they would be creating content as usual, and then adding this whole other aspect of engagement after the fact. So that's my presentation, a little bit about where we are, and I look forward to your questions. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, let's vote over it. Who goes first? So, I mean, there's this movement of democratization of influence, so that more and more people, due to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, everybody has influence and everybody raises their voice, and so you are in an interesting and also in the probably difficult space of democracy. I understand that you have these potential deals with publishers. So what is the money you can make out of these publishers? Because obviously those who vote, they don't pay you for allowing to vote, right?
That's correct. So the voting would always be free, users engaging with the platform, and the widget would always be free to try to get the information out there. So the business model would be oriented towards the publishers, and they would be receiving this whole other realm of interactivity that they can provide to their users. They would also be receiving the feedback from their users based on the content that they're creating. So we think that really adds value to the content that they're creating anyways. So we would charge them a yearly subscription in order to curate their information in our database, but also to make sure that all of the votes are anonymous when they come out of it, to secure privacy, and update them of the results. They can even customize the notifications that they'd like to get out of the application based on a certain area or a certain percentage.
How long has this been live? And I'm still trying to figure out how you're going to make money doing this, all right? So if you can, besides the subscription, I mean, what else are you looking at to generate revenue? And in order for this thing to, we're always looking for big ideas. We're always looking for ideas that can go global. And what are you looking at in terms of like even a yearly number? What's your year one revenues that you're looking at right now based on what you're doing right now?
So that's a great question. So we've looked at a potential customer base of weekly newspapers, just in the US here. Weekly newspapers, daily newspapers, also bloggers, political action committees, people who are engaging in the content and have users that are following them and the content that they distribute. So on top of that revenue model, with the subscriptions, there would also be a vast database that people could ping and just just ask what, they get API queries that come out of it. So even if they aren't actively pushing the content and engaging with the users, they'd still be able to benefit from the questions they're being asked. Oh, and in terms of year one, so we looked at about 24,000 potential customers. So if we can move towards the larger institutions and the bigger newspapers, we think a $2,000 yearly subscription would be reasonable considering the value that we're adding. So that works out to about a $40 million market, but obviously we wouldn't have full market saturation in a year. We think that 15% is not unreasonable to try to get to in the first year or two with traction, and so that would be about a $60 million revenue stream.
Again, another product kind of question. If I'm going to vote, do you know who I am? Am I anonymous when I vote?
If you don't sign up, yes. So we are tracking.
Why would I sign up?
So we are tracking IP addresses to make sure that we know that it's an individual voting and not a bot, essentially. But if you'd like to sign up through your Facebook account, you start to gain points for however many votes you make, comments you make, links that you contribute. So all of the actions that you take on the site and on the widget would actually increase your influence on the site. And we have a whole scheme that we haven't developed yet where you can actually spend that influence on debates. So if you come across a debate that you think that should get out in front of a lot of people, you can actually spend your influence points to get that promoted more and in front of more people.
It seems like the value of the data that you collect would be great if you knew what I was voting for, and you could report that back to someone who gave a rat what I thought, right? So if the Republican Party wants to know what I think about this question, and there's been 50 questions and I responded to all of them, wow, this guy is like not on our team, or whatever. That would be valuable data that you could turn around and generate revenue with, right? But it sounds to me like you're not in a position to do that right now.
So we're still in beta. We don't have the users that we'd like. So yes, our database is not as valuable as we'd like at the moment. But we are looking for beta users, and I handed out my cards. You guys are all welcome to come to the site and tell us what you think. Click around a little bit. But yeah, so on the back end, we definitely separate your name from all of your demographic information and the comments and the votes that you made in terms of securing your privacy. But we do have a demographic component to our database where you can actually contribute your age and your ethnicity, your household size, your income level to try to get at specifically who thinks what, which would be the valuable component.
I hope you feel like we're pinning you against the wall or any of the other people that have presented, but there's the old story, and some of us here in this room kind of go back to this when we remember when Oracle, Sybase, and Informix all had 20% of the marketplace, and there were articles almost being printed every day in the San Francisco Chronicle about who's going to break through. Well, Larry Ellison increased his sales force by about 200%, and look what happened. Okay, so there's a reason why we're asking you these questions about revenue, go-to-market plans, how are you going to make money and everything, because it's important. It's as important as the idea that you're presenting here. And for you guys that are out there that still want to talk to some of us on the board and everything like that, I'm not going to be able to speak for Axel and Bob, but for myself, yeah, I want to know how you're going to make money. That is really a big concern of mine. It's as important to me as your ability as an engineer or a programmer to put together the things that we're seeing tonight and everything. So just keep that in mind, all right? Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Now we had all presentations. We have one last vote from the jury for Odore, for Tony. We have 3, 2, so 7 in total. Thanks a lot. But now I'm also also asking you guys for the vote. Let me just open, I created a poll where you can just via email, via SMS or via Twitter.
And actually, I don't have a startup, but I'm actually interested in joining a startup. So I have a background in consulting. I work for a large global technology management consulting firm. So my specialty is in enterprise. So anybody who's doing a B2B type startup, I have a lot of background in that, general business background. So I'm born and raised in the Bay Area. I'm very familiar with the area. Decent network, and so if anybody's interested in looking for any help, who's a technical co-founder, looking for a business co-founder, or just wants any support, advice, anything, I'm open to it and look forward to connecting. Thank you.
Keshav Milani, my startup is called Power of You, POWR. We're basically helping people monetize their online presence. All the data that you're already putting out there, we're building a personal data marketplace so you can make money off of it. We're a startup, so bootstrapping, any kind of support, interest in the idea. Marketers are definitely welcome because we have the brand proposition of selling. So essentially we're going to be aggregating the data, anonymizing, packing it up into insight reports that brands and agencies want to buy. And whatever money we generate there, we revenue share back with the users, along with insights of what does this data say about you. So just the whole quantified self-movement and things like that. So if you're interested in the idea, please let me know. I'll be around for a little while after. Thank you.
Thanks. Also from my side, I at our Go to Startups event. Every meetup, when we release it, I think the next one will be in October, there is a link where you just register, then we internal review your application, and then you will get the feedback, yes, please come and join and present your startup. So if you're interested to present at one of our next meetups, just look at the meetup pages for the next event. Thanks. Okay, so.
And you hear this often and it sounds like motivational, so oh, you're cool. But like I said earlier, I mean, the number of people who have the balls and the guts and the ideas to start a company, to leave any kind of job, or even because they don't know better, you know, that's a very, very, very small group of the humanity. And so everybody who's doing this is actually contributing to the society more than probably most others. And so if I say this, because in retrospect, after the last, I don't know how many years, I even don't want to count them, you know, those numbers of people who I met, who are also like me back then, in startups, and become investors or not, just retired, whatever it is a rare species. And so all the 5 who came up here, you're actually great, and all the 5 had cool products. And we selected 5 out of, I think we had probably 20 applicants for pitching here. So not everybody, and maybe some or the other was not, even was here, but was not allowed to speak. We want to make sure that this is quality and not come up with some, you know, stuff. So anyway, but the market is brutal and the market is competition. You know, every day, every moment across the world. And so obviously also here we have a competition. So the numbers have changed a little bit in the last couple of seconds, but still, I think the numbers, go back, you can see that actually, the numbers are pretty clear. And like I said earlier, the interesting thing about all these events is that the audience typically votes differently than investors. Now, that is really an interesting phenomenon that you need to understand as an entrepreneur too. Because the audience has a different interest. They don't want to make long-term money from what you're doing, and investors want to do that. Not because they're greedy, but they put part of their money that they made and pay tax for everything on the side to put this at high-risk startups. And every startup is a high risk. So obviously, some of the money will fail. If everything they put into, let's say, 20, 30, 50 startups, and you know, that's the rare case, most of them put in 1 or 2. We heard that George is engaged in 4 or so, 5. So at least 1 out of a number need to bring some return on investment. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to invest in the first place. So there is a high competition, and we have a result which is different between investors and, as you can see here, the audience. And so that's something as a startup you need to always keep in mind. So again, we had 5 presenters. If they're all coming on stage real quick, that would be nice. Do one more time the show. And I tried to make the normal game. We start from number 5. And that was actually, where's Mercury Interactive? Okay. Mercury, sorry. So you're number 5, but still, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So number 4 is Vote Over It. Tony, listen. Thank you very much. And number 3 is Jobs End. Over here, thank you very much for coming. And number 2, I need the light a little bit. Actually, I need the, okay. Number 2 is sorry. Number 2 is Molecule. Awesome job. Thank you. And here's one of the things I just want to mention. They were actually number 1 on the investor side. And other than me, I think, nobody's really going very deep into what you did. But the one thing which was very attractive is your traction. I remember when you were here in spring this year, and I think you had about 20 people who were actually using your app, and now it's 20,000, and we have October. I mean, that is traction. That's impressive. So you did an awesome job. Thank you. So here comes the absolute number 1, Mapistry. All right. Great job. Thank you very much. So we will have a little trophy for you, but we need to engrave your name, so we will send it to you. We have 1 prototype. It sits high and dry in our office, so apologize for not bringing it, but we'll send it over to you as soon as it's ready. So with that, I think that's more or less the official part of it. I want to thank all of you who presented, all of you who contributed, even though it was a little bit, messy because it was one week shifted and we came late and we had a lot of traffic and so on. But I hope you had a great evening. We do this once a month. So October 15, we have a little bit more time to present and to prepare. We will come back here, and if the floor is like that, I think we're not coming back here. So we'll probably have a word with the organization, but yeah, with that I will give it back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, also from my side, thank you so much. Thanks to the jury, thanks for you. And if you have made any images, pictures, please upload them to the to the meetup. And we also have a Go to Startup group on Facebook. I will share the link in the meetup group. So it would be great if you also join this Facebook group and share your startups, your thoughts and inputs also for all of us. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening. Thanks.